Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's webcast. Unlocking Knowledge, Experienced Librarians Share Book Scanning Success Stories, presented by Indus and Library Journal. I'm Joshua Bean, webcast manager for Library Journal, and I will be your moderator. And we will get started with today's presentation in just a moment. But first, let's cover a little bit of housekeeping. The layout of the screen is completely customizable, and you can resize any of these windows and move them around. So feel free to move them, to adjust them as needed. And if you close any of the windows, you can bring them back up by clicking on the appropriate button down in the toolbar at the bottom of the screen. If you'd like to chat with your fellow attendees during the webcast, we encourage you to do so using the attendee chat window. But if you have any questions for the presenters during the webcast, be sure and submit your questions through the Q&A window, and you can drop those in there at any time, and we will address them at the end of the webcast after the presentation. If you'd like to download a copy of the slide deck, you can find that over in the resource list window, and you can download your continuing education certificate from the certification window after you've met the viewing requirements. If you'd like to share this event on social media, you can do that using the hashtag LJIndus, and you can tag us at Library Journal. If you have any technical difficulties during the webinar, you can click on the help widget where you can find the system requirements and the FAQs. I will say usually just using the refresh button or reload button on your internet browser should resolve most of the issues or glitches that you might experience on this webinar platform. But if not, you can send me a note through the Q&A window, and I'll do my best to help you figure out your problem. Okay, with that out of the way, I'd like to introduce all of our speakers for today. We will have Robin Ladd-Mockley, the Digital Library Associate of Reference, Government Publications and Digitization at South Dakota State Library. And we'll have Michael Foyt, the Director of Distinctive Collections and Digital Engagement at the Falvey Library at Villanova University. And then we'll also have Sarah Kostelecki, Director of Digital Initiatives and Scholarly Communications at the Zimmerman Library at the University of New Mexico. And also from the Zimmerman Library is Ray Lynn Richardson, Library Services Coordinator and Digital Initiatives and Scholarly Communications. And we will also have Ivo Josinger, who's the owner and inventor of the DL Mini Robotic Scanner and ScanV Page Semi-Robotic Scanner. And then we also have with us, we have Scott Stenslin, who's the sales manager for Indus International. And Scott is actually going to kick things off and begin the presentation today and kind of give us a little overview and introduction into Indus International and what they do over there. So take it away, Scott.
Hi, everybody. Scott Stenslin from Indus here. Just want to give you a little overview on Indus. Indus International Incorporated was created in 1985 when we bought out a division of NCR, the micrographics division. So Indus has been selling micrographics equipment since 1985 under the Indus name. Before that, it was a division of NCR. We are selling different products for the microfilm industry under different names. If you have any microfilm readers with NCR name on it, or Eastman Kodak, Bell & Howell, 3M, and a few others, they are made here in our location in Wisconsin. In 2001, we got into the book scanner industry. We were selling a scanner that was made in Germany, and we distributed it in North America. A lot of you would be familiar with these products. They started off with a black and white model. They're the Bookeye brand. We've sold them for years and years. A bunch of people have that product. But in 2008, we came out with a new product. Well, we didn't come up with a new product. Actually, Eagle, which you'll hear from a little bit later, came out with a product, and we were distributed it in North America. It's a scan robot. It's actually a robotic scanner where you can put a book in it. This one actually here, Eva will talk about the DL Mini scanner and the ScanV page. The one we're looking at right here is the scan robot. This one's actually made in Austria. So this one's a V-shaped scanner. It'll scan books up to 13 by 13 inches, and it'll scan up to a little over 2,000 pages an hour. This one will have one of our librarians from New Mexico will be talking about the scanner that they're using it, how they use it in their library. So I'll just give you a quick overview of these. The Indus 9000 was developed in 2010, and this was a product that's the first overhead book scanner made in North America with CCD technology. So this scanner can scan books that are 18 inches high by 28 inches wide. What was really nice about this scanner is that it'll scan really fast. It scans in less than 3 seconds, and there's no rewind. It'll scan left to right and right to left. This scanner does really high resolution. It does a really good quality. You can scan a lot of different items with this scanner. We'll go up to the next scanner that we came out with, which was the DL Mini. This was a fully robotic scanner, which we'll have Ivo talk about a little bit later in the presentation. This one is a little bit more fully automatic scanner. With this scanner, you can actually put a book in there, and it'll scan through the whole book when you put it in the scanner under the glass. You'll see a lot more information on this when Ivo gets to his presentation. In 2018, Indus came out with a larger scanner. This is the Book Scanner 5005 Max. This scanner will scan a larger size of 24 inches from top to bottom, 36 inches left to right. It is basically a bigger version of the 9000. Again, gives you really, really great quality. Again, it's an overhead book scanner made in the US. More information will be talked about this scanner when Michael gets on from Villanova. He actually has the scanner, and he'll give you some of the experiences that he has with the scanner and how they use it for different items. In 2020, we started selling the Scan V-Page. This is a semi-automatic book scanner. Again, this one comes in a couple different sizes. This one you can get all the way up to 800 DPI resolution on it, so you can get really, really good resolution on it. They also have a 600 DPI model, and you can scan books at 120 degrees or newspapers, and it'll scan 21.5 inches high or 25.5 or 0.2 inches high, depending on which model you get. And then for the page width, you can have 12.4 or 17.3, again, depending on which model you have. And again, Ivo will have more information on this product also later in the presentation. Just wanted to give you an overview of the products that we have and that we'll be talking about. When you have questions at the end, we'll be able to answer the questions on here also. And if you have any questions on any of the products later, you can contact any of us also. I'll put it back over to Joshua, and we'll go on to the next presentation.
Nice. Thanks, Scott. All right. So that's a quick little overview of the different scanners that are available from Indus. So let's go ahead and move over to Robin from South Dakota State Library to hear from her about the scanner that they use over there.
All right. Hi, everyone. Scott asked me to just give you a little overview of what we use our Indus scanner for here at the State Library, and kind of those features that the reasons we purchased the machine and the reasons we love the machine. So here at the South Dakota State Library, by codified law, we are the repository for state agency publications, meaning they have to deposit them with us. And in the early 2000s, they started digitizing those that are not already digital. Obviously, now I get most of them digital. But they had, previous to the scanner they had an Indus 9000. But in 2021, they received some federal grant money, and they allocated that to purchasing a new scanner this was before I got here, but my supervisor said that their main reason for doing that was they were hoping to speed up the process. I did not look how many state publications we have in our collection, but we have thousands. And so they wanted to get through some of those quicker and more efficiently. And so the machine they purchased and the one we currently use that I have a picture of our setup is the ScanV Page 600. And I was just going to go through a few of the features that I really love about it. It's quite a large machine, so it's got its own little corner here in our office. But the main reason that it was purchased and that I love it is the semi-robotic nature of it. Most of the volumes that we are scanning are in book form or like a spiral bound, thinner kind of pamphlet volume. So having the ability to put it on the V page and support the book and not have to lay it open flat is really, really, really helpful for us here. And the robotic nature of it, I like because we have volumes all the way from 1862 was one I recently scanned. And I didn't use the robot for that. I could manually move the glass up and down. But some of the other ones I've been working on recently are more modern from the 80s. And I can use the robotic arm to make the glass go up and down. And I can scan through those much, much quicker. So I really love that feature of being able to have the robot move the arm. And I can really, really fastly go through a book if the book can handle it. Or I don't have to use the robot and I can manually move the glass and take care of the book if I need to. I also really like the page improver software that comes with it, allowing me to edit a lot of the pages at once. I don't have to handle each image of these 1,000-page books at once. I can set up my criteria and let it go. For me, I really, really like that it follows the FAGI and other guidelines. Because quite frankly, as much as I like what I do, I don't fully know all the FAGI guidelines by heart. So I love that the machine and the technicians know all that and can do that. And so I have this, I think the other reason we really purchased another Indus is the service from Indus was my supervisor. I've only been here about a year, but my supervisor has nothing but good things to say. They are super quick in response time. Scott and Fred always get back to my emails very, very quickly, no matter what the minor problem is. Even if it's just, how do I do this? And I think I love that we had some problems with the lights and they stuck with me till the end and we figured it out and got the lights replaced. And so the quick service time from Indus and the ability to have the robotic arm or the not robotic arm were the real selling points on this machine for us. And that's all I've really got to say, unless anybody has specific questions. I think, the V shape and the glass, because we work primarily with books, is our love of the machine. So that's all I have, unless there's questions at the end. So thank you.
Nice. Thanks, Robin. Yeah. If we get any questions, we can address those later on. So go ahead and move on. Hand it over to Michael from Villanova University.
Hello. I've been at Villanova for a very long time. I think I'm in my 29th year now, starting November 1. So, I was just reflecting upon how long I've known Scott. I think I've known Scott 18 years or so about, and Villanova has been a customer of Indus that entire time. Our first digital library scanner was a 5005 non-Supermax, which Indus set up, and we have moved it to a couple of different locations. It's not as large as the 5005 Max. We like to call it sort of Supermax because it's so large. But we've scanned, I would say, 3/4 of our content that's available through Villanova's digital library using the 5005, the older Indus. And for certain classes of material, it still is our go-to scanner. It's easier to sort of wrangle in a very large bound newspaper volume to that scanner. But since we got the 5005, which we were able to acquire the funds for during COVID, extra savings allowed us to get the 5005. It really has allowed us to scan a lot more quickly. It also has a much higher resolution. The image quality is much superior to the original 5005. Now, unlike some of the other presenters, we don't primarily deal with bound books. We have a variety of material types. Villanova scans its own content, which includes things from medieval manuscripts to large collections of dime novels and story papers, which are very, very fragile and have to be handled very gently. And it doesn't allow us to sort of just, automatically move from one page to the other. Sometimes we're having paper loss even as we're doing this, moving from one page to another. So there's that class of content. We also have digital partners. We have bilateral partnerships with 25 or so other historical societies and heritage organizations all over Pennsylvania, New Jersey, up to Massachusetts, where we digitize their materials for free. And so that brings in a lot of other kinds of content, including scrapbooks, all of which have to be handled slightly differently. Those can be done, and you'll see some examples of that in Villanova's digital library website that have been done on the Indus. Just this Indus 5005, and it's incredibly crystal images, really, really remarkable quality, I think, come out of the 5005. We digitize almost everything we do for free, and then serve it up under a Creative Commons license or an open license. We track those on a Zotero database, which you can see on the homepage of the digital library there. So the content that has come from scanners that Indus produced have ended up in PBS documentaries on the Great War, on the Easter Rising. They've been made into props for television shows. It is a high quality product. And let me just echo the service, ethos that Indus has. They do show up at your door to do service almost instantly. They will. For the older scanner, I think we have in 15 years had 3 or 4 weeks of downtime out of that entire time. I mean, that's incredible. The new Indus, we've had a couple of hurdles with that, but Indus has been here to correct and fix the problems since installation anytime within sometimes hours of us phoning them. So I don't think you get a level of service quality at other institutions that match what I can personally testify for Indus. And it is challenging. It really is, because you do have materials that you are entrusted with that you have to ensure that are not ripped or are destroyed in the scanning process. Often the originals are only copy of something that survived from 100 years ago, 200 years ago. And we don't do destructive digitization, so we've got to have something that's very safe for our student workers, who are our primary scanners, to be able to operate this machinery. We've got to have something that is an equipment that we can have confidence in putting something that's very rare and unique, and that will give us a good output as well too, so we don't have to do a rescan, and we can get really, really excellent quality on the public side. Please feel free to reach out with any Q&As. I'm happy to answer anything about any of our own digital library projects, about Indus, about the game of Twister you almost have to play sometimes when you're trying to scan something that's in little fragile parts that you've got to stretch out to make fit to get a good capture. So that's what I wanted to say about Indus today, and I'll pass the baton on. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, let's go ahead and move things over to Sarah and Raylyn from the University of New Mexico.
Hi, everybody. So we're going to just share a little bit like the other folks have about how we're using our equipment at University of New Mexico. And so Raylyn and I are both in our digital initiatives unit. This was actually purchased. We have the scan robot machine. There's a picture of our setup here. And my predecessor was actually the one who purchased it, but we got it in 2015. So we've had it for quite a while. And really we wanted to get this to do a lot of our, similar to what Michael was saying, some of our rare and fragile materials. So we work really closely with our library Center for Southwest Research and Special Collections unit. So we were really working with them when this was purchased, the goal being digitizing a lot of the materials that we had already. And New Mexico is a pretty rural state, so we have lots of space, less people. So we want to support people getting access to some of these materials. So I think that was also why they decided to really focus on scanning a lot of our special collections. So we got this in 2015, and we have been working to digitize a lot of other things in addition to our special collections, but I'll let Raylyn take over from there, and I'll add anything else maybe after she's done.
Hi. So most of our things that we scan right now in the ScanBot is our thesis and dissertation collection. All of those are a bound copy of what the previous students turned in as their dissertation or thesis, which means they are typed single-sided, and they're typically on onion skin paper, so they're really very thin. And they're different weights. So the older the item is, the very lightweight paper, as opposed to what is coming out of a typical computer print scan job now. So there's a lot of variation. We have had a lot of our student employees doing the scanning. We have brought in access services students that are normally used to using the book eye to come in to use this. So they're all very excited because it works a lot faster. It will suck up the pages on its own. You don't have to flip the pages. You do have to stay very close to it just in case, especially since we're working with fragile items. But it really cuts down on the amount of time that it takes. We have it set to do at about 15 to 20 pages per minute. So it can go faster, but the reason why we did that is because of the very thin paper. Every once in a while, it will try to pick up 2 at a time. And so we'll need to change the suction, and the software is super amazing. You can adjust the suction per book, even per section sometimes. And since these are dissertations, a lot of like the geology ones, they would take their photographs of the rocks that they were studying, and they were literally pasted in with glue onto the paper. So the weight changes, and some of that glue is already getting old. So if you're not really careful, the photo can come off. So we just have to be very careful with it. And the software is really great in the sense that when it picks up a little bit around the edge of black, we can have it set to process all of that out at once. So that's one less thing that we need to do and clean up later. We can also set it to create a PDF straight out of the machine. This takes a couple minutes at the most for like a 400-page dissertation. It's much quicker for a smaller one. And it doesn't take nearly as long as it was with the book eye to process all the scans and make them come together. Once we have the PDF, we put it up in our digital repository. We have a section for electronic thesis and dissertations. The earliest dissertation that I have personally digitized was from 1914. So before that, our university was founded in 1889, so there are a few that are sooner. A lot of that very early collection is only preserved on microfilm. So the majority of what we have starts coming in around 1920. And up until 2014, all of our items were primarily in print. After 2014, they're getting uploaded directly to our repository. So that is over 25,000 titles that we need to go back and digitize. And they range anywhere from 50 pages to 800 is the largest that I've seen. And that comes in 2 volumes. So the software is really great about mixing stuff together. And it's been a really good machine in the sense that it has saved a lot of our time.
We forgot, did you mention, Raylan, that we have a nickname for the machine?
Yes, all of our students call it Trevor.
There's big Treventus on the top, but they call it Trevor. And so just talking to you about some of the support. So we also, with Indus, we have our local technician that comes to, help us with the machine if we need it. Just all different, how to clean it. When we were first kind of, Raylan and I, again, are somewhat new to the department. We've only been here the last few years, but our predecessor, everybody, there was turnover. So they were helpful to get us kind of, oh yeah, we didn't realize this was kind of an option, or figuring out how to just use some of the tools that were on it that we weren't aware of initially. So we have a local person who can help us that they work with and send for us. So and then we've just had some really, it's a lot faster. We're able to respond to requests also for dissertations. So we'll get requests from, my uncle went to UNM and I would love to see his dissertation, but I'm in, somewhere far away. And so we respond to digitizing those. We respond to those requests, and we can usually get them in a few days, right, Raylan? It's a lot faster than it would be if we were using other equipment. So that's really helped us with that. And again, just supporting, of course, our dissertations and theses, which will take us a while to get through all of them. But we have really great students who have learned how to use it and help us kind of get through that backlog. And some of also our special collections, but that is primarily for books, bound books, right? And that's what we use it for. So that's a little bit about what we're doing at UNM.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. All right, so let's move things along. We got Ivo.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ivo from For Digital Books in Switzerland. Maybe a short introduction to our company. For Digital Books is manufacturing automatic and semi-automatic book scanners. We have a partnership with Indus since year 2015. And our company started producing these robots in year 2000. Year 2000 was very particular. Everybody was switching from paper to digital. And one day when I visited the Frankfurt Book Fair in Germany, I was a young engineer and I looked around me. It was a whole city of paper, printers, publishers all around. And I say, why are these guys still making all this content on paper? And then I said, well, maybe I can build an automatic book scanner. And today I'm going to show you the book scanner that we built many years ago. This is the DL Mini, the digitizing line Mini. It's the second generation of automatic book scanners that we are building. The previous was much bigger. There is one in Stanford University. It is a big, large format scanner, and the DL Mini is a little smaller, but it fits to the large majority of needs in libraries. So let me show you a little video about the product, and you will understand better than a verbal explanation. So I'm going to share my screen, and I will explain about the DL Mini automatic book scanner. So this is the DL Mini automatic book scanner. Its most important feature is that it's very reliable, in the sense of it will always pick up one page at a time. So here you will see how it works. There is a flat catch feature and a direct catch. You will see the flat catch is this arm going flat on the paper. And you can see the pages are turned, and then they are presented under the glass, and the image is taken from an overhead camera. So,
Hi, Ivo.
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt. Just maybe the others can see, but it does not appear to me like the video is playing.
You don't see the video?
I see the video player, but there's no video that's being shown on the screen.
Uh-huh. Well, I shared my screen.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So yeah, the others are having issues too. So you could try maybe closing and reopening your media player.
Yeah, I will do that. Yeah, sorry for this.
It's okay.
So I need to start again the player. So here we are. Do you see something now?
Give it a second. No.
I just posted. There is no image. Let me see if I have to set. Maybe I can switch to the speed of the connection. Let me check this. I'll put it to medium. Okay. So I hope this is better now. Do you see my video? Or
no, not yet. I think if you stop, you may need to stop the share and restart the share.
Okay, I will restart the share. So
maybe it will reload it.
Yeah, 1 second, please. I need to manipulate the interface. So, okay. Okay, now I can say entire screen. Maybe this is easier. Do you see this?
Yes,
do you see my screen?
Yes, and it looks like the video is showing now. So you may need to move the...
So entire screen was the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, do you still see it playing now?
Yes, it's playing now. Yeah,
okay,
we're good to go.
Sorry for this. So, yeah, back to what I was saying. Here we are showing the robot in motion. It's picking up pages one at a time. It's checking about how many are picked up, and if only one page is picked up, then it will turn it, and then it will present it under a glass where the camera can capture the exposed pages. So this is what we call the flat catch. It goes flat on the paper. Here we are going to use the direct catch. So this is to show that the robot has an arm with a variable geometry arm. So it has two methods for picking up pages. Here we see the second method. It's a little faster. So the robot is turning pages at a rate of 1,200 to 1,500 pages per hour. It has a lot of features. For example, here you see the operator is placing a book on the plates, and the plates are perforated with little holes. So we hold the book by vacuum, by aspirating the cover. And here you see that we are installing a small mask. So the mask will limit the airflow for this small book. And if there is a bigger book, we will use a larger mask to load the book. So I'm just showing the different features on how you can prepare the robot for scanning different sizes. Yeah, this is a typical situation. Then we are going to show the low pressure arm and the mask. So the pages are picked up by the arm that you see here. It has little holes and it has a mask. The mask is from mylar material, so it's all compatible to be in contact with paper. And here we have this mask being placed from the direct catch to the flat catch, which is a little higher. And once we are in position, we can lock the mask at this place. Actually, this is the only manual setting of the whole robot. Anything else is automatic. So once you have selected this, you can scan the book accordingly. Here is an ultrasonic sensor. This will detect how many pages are picked up. You will see that we can detect 0 pages. For example, if the robot cannot lift the page, it will be a 0-page event. If there is 1 page, the robot will detect a 1-page event. And if we put 2 pages or more, the system will detect a multi-feed. We call it 2 pages. So this automatic detection is very, very reliable. It is the same method that is used in the sheet feeder scanners that are sold all around the world. So this is something very reliable that we use. There is also a laser detection which goes on the edge. So you will see this is the part that is turning the page. And the laser is going to detect any incident. For example, if a page is going to be bent, if for some reason the page is not completely rotating, the laser will detect it and it will avoid any incident. So when loading books, you will see in the next section that the book measure is automatic. So you place the book closed naturally. And when you click a button, the system will measure it with a laser. So the thickness of the book is automatically measured. So you don't need to enter any numbers. You cannot fool the system because the system will discover automatically all the parameters of the book. So the first measure is the thickness. Then we aspirate the covers on the plates. The book is held by vacuum at this moment with aspiration. And then when you start the process, the next measure will be the page size. So the robot will measure how long is the page to the right side, from the middle to the right side. And then it knows exactly where to go and to pick up the pages. A smaller book or a bigger book have different places to pick up the pages. So for example, if you load a thick book, you can use different methods. Here is a very thick book. You place it closed again, and the system will again measure the thickness with the laser. So these are the typical features that the robot can do automatically. So here, this is enough for the presentation at this stage. You saw how the system is measuring thickness, page size, how the pages are turned. So I will stop this video for now, stop sharing. And I would like to go a little further with my presentation by showing you another product. This is the V-shape scanner that was presented earlier. So here is the Scan-V page. The Scan-V page is a semi-automatic book scanner. Here you have to turn the pages manually, but all the rest is done automatically. You have two models, the Pro and the Jumbo. The Jumbo is bigger size, double A2. And if we go further in the presentation, I would like to show you the technical features of this scanner. As you see, it's a whole workplace. There is a table, there are two monitors, there is a large overhead dark casing to prevent from incident light. You have to understand that when you're scanning in a V-shape, all incident light from the roof, from the ceiling, from the lamps can spoil your image. So for this reason, we have this overhead dark casing. Here you see how the book is presented. And you can also notice that there is nothing over the book except this V-shape dark area where the cameras are located. So there are no mechanical arms, nothing that can reflect. So all the movement or the mechanics are under the table, under this black body. Here you see when the arm has lifted the glass, all the mechanics are under the glass, nothing over. And in the upper area, you see the two glasses of the cameras. There are two cameras. So when the book is installed on the book holder, we are using all kinds of different mats. You can see these are foams. The goal here is to let the book open at 120 degrees, but also to make the book sit in a comfortable way, which means there are no strains, no tension, and you have to support it in the most natural way as we see it on this image. When the glass is presented on the book, there is this little line that you see. This is the junction of the two glasses, and this is the only artifact that you would see during scanning. So it's a very, very thin. I will tell you more after in the next slides. Here you can see how it looks like under the glass. And there is another view. So the book holder, as you can see, there is a little, I don't know the English word, where you can turn. There is a handle that allows you to open for the book width. So you can adjust the book width to accept a thicker book to be loaded. And now I would like to highlight the dead area. Nobody is talking about that. This exists in every V-shaped scanner. There is an area that you cannot scan, which is very close to the gutter, to the binding. In our case, this area is extremely small. It's less than 2 millimeters. So actually what will be hidden is the dark line of the junction. And what is expected from a V-shaped scanner is that you can see as deep as possible in the gutter without losing contact. By doing so, you have to make sure that the glass is not sharp. Here you can see that we have a special junction between the glasses. The glasses are glued together, and there is no way that you can harm the book or cut your arm or nothing. It's absolutely safe. Another very important feature for this V-shaped scanner is that we keep a constant distance between the camera and the exposed surface. This is very, very important, probably the most important thing for a V-shaped scanner, because if you load a thicker book, you don't want the book to come closer to the camera. It has to go away in the correct thickness, but the exposed surface has to be always at this constant distance. If you don't respect this rule, when the book comes closer to the camera, suddenly you have a bigger page, and suddenly the image resolution is not respected. So the V-shaped scanner that we are manufacturing is very conservative about this. So the image resolution, the size, the quantity of light on the image is very constant. So about any usual scanner, what you have to be careful about is the reflective area, reflective zone. When you have a camera and a glass over a flat open book, you have this reflective zone. So any source of light in this area will reflect in it, and you will see a glare in the camera. Now, when we go to a V-shaped scanner, it's a little more complicated. The reflective zone is much wider. This is the reason why we have created this overhead casing, to protect any light source reaching the book other than the light source that you can see here over the head of the operator. And this light source is not reflecting in the eyes of the operator. So when the operator is working, he will not see any reflection of the light source. And on the lower part of this image, you can see that the light source will also never reflect in the camera. It will go always, these little colored arrows show that the reflected light goes away. Finally, this is a little more complex to explain, but this is a very, very important feature of our V-shaped scanner, is that the light source will never create glare. For example, on this open book that you see on the lower side of the image, you can see that there is on the left side, there is a black page, and on the right side, there is a white page that we have illustrated under the glass. And the light source, whatever it is, placed in the center of the gutter in a way that you will never have a reflection from one side of the glass to the other. So all these technical things are a little complicated, but they are very, very important for you to preserve the quality of the image, so that you don't have your dark colors don't get gray or brighter, so you can preserve all the colors. And finally, we are reaching the end of my presentation. Our scanners are installed with two types of cameras. One is the ROC camera with 156 megapixels. This is a multi-shot camera from I2S. I2S is a French company. I2S is also a shareholder in 4Digital Books. We are partnering since 20 years, and I2S is manufacturing also book scanners, but their strong point is the cameras. So you can have our scanners with these two cameras, the 156 megapixels or the 71 megapixels. Thank you for your attention. I have finished with my presentation, and I'm very open to answer any questions if you have.
That was fascinating. Thanks, Ivo. Let's see. So real quick, before we move, we do have some questions that we'd like to get to. But before we do that, I'm going to pop up a little poll here. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to, or not a few minutes, but a little while to respond to this as we move into the Q&A. And also, by the way, if you have any questions and you have not submitted them yet, you can go ahead and submit your questions now. Yeah, you should see this poll question showing you up in the slide window, and you can click on these. You can click in the slide window to respond to these questions. Let's see, while we have a moment here. Ivo, I didn't want to interrupt your presentation again, but your video is frozen on your webcam. So I think what you will need to do is refresh your browser page and as it reloads, it should correct the problem with your video. Cool. I'll give everyone just another few seconds to.
You hear me?
Yeah, Evo. Yeah, we can hear you. So I'll bring
Okay, now
the
it
other.
works, yeah. Sorry for this. Yeah, looks
Cool.
like.
I'll bring the other speakers back on to the screen. You can see everyone. Cool. Okay, so we've got a good number of responses here. So we'll go ahead and just take a look at the results, see what everybody thought about this, what your most important priorities are when you're considering a book scanner. It's like accuracy and price are the highest ones there. Cool. All right, well, let's jump into some questions. Got a couple of questions from Jennifer at the Milwaukee Public Library. See if we can respond to those and let everybody know those answers. So Sarah mentioned that she has a local technician that helps maintain their scanner there. She'd like to know, how widespread are technicians throughout the United States? Do most areas have one?
I'll take that question. It depends on your location. We do have technicians that will drive and fly all over the country. And then in certain locations where we have some customers, more customers, we'll have local technicians that come in that area too, so we can provide quick service. So it really depends on where you're located. Jennifer, being in Milwaukee, our headquarters is in Wisconsin. So we have a lot of technicians that can be there very quickly.
Lucky Jennifer. Okay, and the other question from Jennifer is, can the robot be used on brittle paper, like old bound newsprint?
I can answer this question.
Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Evo. Yeah, you're back. Everything's working now.
Good. So clearly a robot is not intended to be used on very fragile documents. That's why we have made the V-shaped scanner, which is a manual scanner where you can gently present the pages under these V-shaped glass. If you have very fragile materials, it makes no sense to go fast and to put them in a robot. The robot is definitely a scanner for mass production and for, let's say, reasonably, for books that are in a reasonable condition. If the paper is brittle, don't put it in a robot. It makes no sense. Do it manually.
And I think Robin described that a little bit, where she uses the scan B page, where she used it manually instead of even in the semi-robotic stage. Can you explain what you were scanning when you were doing that, Robin?
I can, yeah. We have some of our bound state laws that are from the late 1800s, so like the 1860s, 1870s, and they're quite fragile. They're flaking, and even though the robot's only making the glass go up and down, I've found that can be too much, and so I move the glass up and down myself so that it's not pulling on the pages at all or even touching them at all, just to be safe. I mean, I've tried, because it's just moving the glass up and down on our semi-automatic one. But yeah, that's one of the features I like about our semi-automatic, that I can, I have to still manually turn the page on the newer materials, but they go really quick. But on those older ones, I can make the glass go up and down myself to be more gentle.
Hopefully that explained it a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. I've got a couple of questions. Scott, at the beginning, you referenced CCD technology. What is that? What is that term? What is that acronym for those that might not be familiar?
Yeah, that's actually the camera. So the camera, instead of using a It's the technical term for the camera, basically. It's the line CCD versus a square camera type system that's taking a picture. So it's actually doing each line. It's taking images of each line and then putting them together as it's going across the document that you're scanning.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. What are like the main criteria that to decide what scanner is the right choice for an institution? I mean, what are the, I mean, whoever wants to jump in here on this. I mean, I think maybe some of our guests can tell us about like what the key factors are in deciding which scanner made the most sense for their institution.
Well, let me just mention, a bit like Pringles potato chip, you can't eat just one. You need to have more than one scanner, depending on what your material types are. I think Ivo mentioned, for mass digitization, certainly a robotic scanner is an option. For materials that are much more fragile or very large, you have to have specialized equipment. You really do. And even in some cases, while we didn't talk about it, we still go to a flatbed scanner for negatives, or when digitizing microfilm, you got to go back to the old standby about a microfilm scanner. So having a variety of materials that match what you have, what your material types are, I think is critical.
At the South Dakota State Library, I would second that, because we have the V-shaped scanner, but my project is solely digitizing bound book volumes. When we got this Scan V page, we actually gave the Indus 9000 to our state archives, who do more of the photographs and the flat letters. And so they're also using an Indus, but for different things. So.
Yeah, and I think I looked through some of our documentation at UNM from my predecessor when they were evaluating this, and one of the ideas was, again, digitizing our back collection of dissertations and theses, and then they also did an estimate of what that would cost for an outside vendor versus actually purchasing the equipment, and we knew, again, it was bound books primarily, and mostly standard size of book, so we printed books. So yeah, that was, I think, why they also thought this would be useful for that. And then of course, any other kind of bound things that we were doing. But
yeah, the size of books, that was a good one, because different scanners can do different sizes.
Very cool. Okay. Well, we have actually got to the end of our time today. So I think we will go ahead and wrap things up. Pretty sure we got to everyone's questions. That's submitted questions here. So we would like to thank everyone for attending today, and also thank you to all of our speakers. Thanks for joining us and sharing your experience using the scanners. And just a reminder, we do record all of our webcasts. So if you missed any part of today's presentation and you'd like to go back and watch the part that you missed, or if you'd like to share this with a colleague that you think might find value in it, we do record our webcasts, and you can watch the on-demand recordings usually within a few hours of the live broadcast. So you can use the same link that you used today, or you can use the link that we'll send you tomorrow in the follow-up email. Plus, if you want to check out any of our other upcoming or on-demand webcasts, plus our online courses and our virtual events, you can find all of that over in the events and professional development section at libraryjournal.com. So if you haven't been over there, go check that out and see all the cool content that we have going on over there. So thanks again, everybody, for attending, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.